Yo, what's going on, guys? Little late show, but hey, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Supposedly, the Phoenix Suns Adelaide 36er game will be a showcase for MBL top prospect Kai Sotto. James Wiseman dominated in his first preseason game against the Washington Wizards. Now we're waiting for our man, Jackson, a.k.a. Wil Upton, to join us, and he has right here. Sorry about the late start, buddy boy. But here we are. Today we'll be talking about a few things. Blake Griffin has joined the Boston Celtics. It's hard being so right all the time. Okay. Literally, what was it? Dude, I feel like every show, like whenever something happens, I feel like you or I just, fucking mentioned it the week before.
I'd second that.
Like last week, I think I literally said, I was like, out of all the free agents, I hate to say it, Blake Griffin, or I think we said it was Blake Griffin, or because we're saying like I think they were going to sign Blake Griffin over Carmelo, but like, it was Blake Griffin and Jeremy Lamb that we were both saying. I was like, for some reason, I feel like they'd rather get Blake Griffin or Jeremy Lamb here than Carmelo.
LaMarcus was in there too for a little bit.
LaMarcus was in there too. So there was a few. It was, like you said, it ain't easy being right.
It's not, dude. Because you got to keep it going too, But some of us, and thankfully for you viewers, it's Cyro and I are cursed. Some view it as a blessing. Others view it as a curse to just always be right.
Are you watching Monk?
I don't know what that is.
He said he always goes, it's a blessing and a curse.
Of always being right?
Yeah.
I love that. What's Monk?
You never watched it? He's like it's like a drama, but like it's not a drama, it's like a kind of like a detective show, but it's kind of funny. It was from like 2003 to 09 or 2010 with Tony Shalhoub. It's a great show. If you want to watch it, do you have Prime?
No.
No? Do you order packages from Amazon?
Yeah.
Do you have Prime shipping?
Yeah.
Then you have Amazon Prime. You just never.
I'm not gonna do anything about it.
Just go on there and watch Monk.
I used to have Amazon Prime hooked up to my PlayStation, and I'd go through spurts of watching shit on Prime, but
you're too cool for school.
I'm too cool for Prime, bro.
All right, so we're gonna run through today's show. Sorry about the delay. And we're gonna do the first thing. We're gonna talk about quickly Ime Udoka. Then we'll talk about Blake Griffin, just because Boston Celtics keep it in the family. So it has just came out that ESPN sources, the law firm probed into Celtics coach Ime Udoka's found crude language in his dialogue with a female subordinate prior to the start of an improper workplace relationship, an element that was significantly a factor into the severity of a 1-year suspension. Your take from that? I basically think it means, damn, shit was not how the NBA would like it, I'd assume, right?
Yeah. I mean, dude, just like what we were talking about 2 minutes ago, man, sometimes it's real. This is when it's a curse to be right. The blessing was getting Blake Griffin on the Celtics, right? This is when the curse comes, because one thing we talked about, or I was talking about all last week, the last 2 weeks, is listen, Ime Udoka will never coach again in the league. We don't know too much about this, but there's no way he doesn't end up getting fired or asked to resign. He's done in the league. I still don't really know the information, but one thing was preaching all week last week. Everything you hear from here on out until he ends up getting fired or resigns, it's going to be bad, and it's going to get worse, and it's going to get worse. Every news story you hear, it's going to progressively get worse. And this is, you can't have this. I do like Shaq. I don't know if you heard Shaq the other day saying, he was a serial cheater, and kind of breaking it down like what he would do. I mean, he would literally pay women to be quiet, but this is it's a little bit bigger than basketball, but in the basketball, if we're talking basketball in this situation, dude, it's horrible. And I still don't know how he's still technically with the Boston Celtics. So was it Matt Barnes who said once the information comes out, he will never coach again? You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I realized that after I got it. Okay, so I don't remember. Well, I was clicking a bunch, and I didn't want to overtake your little rant with that the clicks. But basically, from my understanding, was I don't know who put it out there, but I think it was a NBA exec or something like that. But he basically said that yeah, he's never going to coach again. Doesn't seem like it's going to happen, and I see if he does coach again, it's an assistant. I don't think I think they're more implying that like he's. I don't even know. It's bad. It's not a great situation, but again, we are guys of our word saying that we're not really going to discuss it because we don't really like we know what the punishment is, and like we both agreed that we don't respect
exactly
mistreatment of women.
Quite frankly, it's none of my business.
But yeah, that's the other thing. It's none of our business. Yeah, great way to put it.
J journalists, I guess once the news drops, once we get the updates, I mean
it's just like I always say, we got to acknowledge it. Not that we want to speak about it. We have to acknowledge it because if we don't acknowledge it, we're not doing our jobs.
I love that. Superstar.
Yeah. But it's just like it's not like we're gonna give them the time of day to talk about it because fuck that noise. It's not something that we want in our society. But we have to acknowledge because there's shit like that that's happening that that shouldn't be happening. Now the big all signing, they waived Denzel Valentine in correspondence to this move. Looks like guess who might make the roster? Guess who might make the roster?
Should have been Capicola, but Vonleh. I hope it's Vonleh. Better be Vonleh.
I think Vonleh might have Vonleh.
Then who are you talking about? Are you talking about Jake Layman?
Of course, baby.
This fucker. That's funny. Good for Jake.
I mean, he's still a very long shot from making the roster, but because Blake Griffin comes on, and I definitely said that I believed it was Justin Jackson, Noah Vonleh, and Jake Layman. I think signing Blake Griffin might be sign that Noah Vonleh might not make the roster because Noah Vonleh and Blake Griffin are playing the same position, power forward center, while I think Jake Layman and Justin Jackson might be fighting each other for the job, basically who's shooting more, because Jake Layman gives you, small forward, power forward. Justin Jackson, in theory, shooting guard, small forward, and if he shows some, size, could maybe even play power forward. Layman's stuck at two positions. Justin Jackson has the athleticism, arguably, and a little bit of the size to play three positions. But Blake coming in here, he's gonna come here, and I've said this when I made a video while I was at work, that Blake Griffin will be fantastic if he can look like the Blake Griffin in his first season with the Nets, where he shot almost 50% from the field. I think he was shooting 32% from three. I know that's not great, but like for Blake Griffin, that's what you want. That's close to league average, and that just makes him respectable. That makes him respect. Oh, wait, no. His first season with the Nets, he shot 38%.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
Sorry, my apology. He shot 32% with the Pistons that year. But first year, if he can come out here and average, 17, 20 minutes a night, shoot 49% from the field, 38 from three, grab 5 boards, dish out 3 assists, give you, maybe a steal or a block a game while getting, 7 to 10 points a night, that's more than enough. He only needs to play 15, 20 minutes a night, give us a few rebounds, give us a few assists, give us a few, momentum swinging plays, and hit the three-point shot at least at a league average, so you are a respectable threat that teams won't, like if they do leave you open, you're always going to be shooting it, and that teams are going to have to, not leave you open. I think there is good room for him.
Yeah.
So Big J said, "Sup, crude language might happen when she cut him off because she ran when her husband found out." Imagine,
it's a fair point, but it's all speculation.
That's all speculation. But no, I think this is definitely with Blake Griffin. I like it because now we talked about it. It was the front court depth, something that made us a bit nervous when we looked at behind Robert Williams and Al Horford. Is Luke Cornett really the guy that you wanted as your third? Like now that I feel, but that's the other thing is Luke Cornett can get cut because they'll save a shit ton of money cutting Luke Cornett if they do before the start of the season, according to Hoops Hype's contract shit. And then you have the idea of that, okay, Noah Vonleh and Blake Griffin could be the two backups for Robert Williams and Al Horford. And if they do cut, Luke Cornett, that means Jake Layman or Justin Jackson could still make the roster, one of the two players. So, it all works out. You got any thoughts before we move on to the next segment?
No, I think Blake's pretty money for him. I mean, there's still some guys out there. Isn't Trez still a free agent? But I like,
Montrez?
yeah.
You signed with the Sixers, you jackass.
Holy retard. I'm retarded. I made that video. It's one of our best fucking videos, too. One of our best clips. There's a fire-ass thumbnail that I whipped up. Or actually, I think I found that online. But what's up, Josh? I think, okay, Dwight Howard's still out there, right?
Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge,
Yeah,
Dwight Howard,
Melo. I think
DeMarcus Cousins. Do you see the ticketer? Hassan Whiteside, Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, yeah.
I have it. You didn't know that?
You know, I really was thinking about this earlier today because I made a video on the Denver Nuggets, and I was watching a bunch of film, and they have no rim protection, like none whatsoever. So Denver Nuggets aren't winning the championship.
Now they do have rim protection. Nikola Jokic.
He's not a rim protector.
Aaron Gordon. Fuck you. But let's talk about.
I will send you the video of Nikola Jokic getting exposed every single possession in the playoffs for the last 2 seasons. All you have to do is get a pick. All you need is a pick.
So here we go. We're moving on from the Nikola Jokic slander. Now I want to talk about the game that happened today. Yeah, Big J, if you want to go back. Okay, I think he was just commenting. Yeah, solid pickup, small center. He's a power forward backup center. Yeah. If you want to go back a few minutes, you can hear our full thoughts on the Blake Griffin signing.
It'll be clipped too later.
It'll be clipped. But right here, we're going in. Did you watch this game? I actually missed it. I was at work. I wasn't able to put it on because my manager was there, so I can't really, he probably wouldn't have liked if I just threw up on the computer. But
yeah, I woke up at 4:45, made some coffee.
I don't know if you're
put on my Steph jersey.
You actually did?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't have a Steph jersey either. But no, I saw the highlights. I saw James Wiseman.
Wait, it was at 4:45? It
was at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay, dude. I thought it was at 9 a.m. because I saw all the alerts at it for 9 a.m. Okay, yeah, no, fuck no. I was asleep, bro. I wake up at 6, but I could have woken up. I love basketball. I wouldn't have woken up for this goddamn game. But there's more games tomorrow, so.
Yep. We're back.
I saw Kenny Beecham tweet that NBA is back.
Never mind.
Rui Hachimura led the Wizards in scoring. We'll talk about the Wizards in a second. I think obviously the good part, the juicy part that everybody wants to hear is James Wiseman leading both teams in scoring with 20 points. Almost had a double-double. Had a block out there. Was looking good. Only missed 3 shots. Had an alley-oop. It was beautiful for James Wiseman and the Golden State Warriors. We saw Dante DiVincenzo come out there and play that Gary Payne II role really well. And then you also had a little Pat Baldwin and Ryan Rollins. I think it was a fun game. Klay Thompson isn't playing. And Jordan Poole started. But what you see any highlights? You look at the game at all? Any takeaways from it?
Yeah, Wiseman cooked. Wiseman absolutely cooked, and he actually almost. I mean, my thoughts. Peak James Wiseman will be 25 and 10. I think that the Warriors, they're the best team in the league, and James Wiseman cooking is only more issues. I mean, if you have James Wiseman, that's why you pick up JaMychal Green too, give Draymond Green some rest here or there, lower his minutes. I mean, Golden State's looking scary, obviously, for this upcoming season. They're the team to beat, but long run, that's what should really strike fear in other teams in the West, especially. But it's really nice seeing a healthy James Wiseman get cooking. I do want to see Kuminga and Moody get it going a little bit more on the offensive end as we progress through preseason. But I really like what I saw from the Warriors.
No, I agree. I think the Warriors, we saw a little bit. I think also, guys, before we go into reacting to preseason basketball, I want to say this. It's preseason fucking basketball. It's going to be some of the sloppiest, weirdest basketball you'll ever see. There'll be a point where we're going to be talking probably in 2 weeks where we're kind of sick of preseason basketball, because what happens in preseason basketball is there's a lot of battles, for the final roster spot. Besides that, when you do see the regular guys play, they're not playing in typical lineups because coaches are testing shit out that they would not normally test. And they're testing their more experimental shit in preseason. And then in the regular season, they test out the stuff that they want to use in playoff basketball. Right now, they're testing out stuff they want to use in the regular season. So, like we just heard, they were the Orlando Magic. Listen to this. For example, this is the type of stuff you might see in preseason basketball. The Orlando Magic are right now testing out in practice this lineup of, it's kind of ridiculous, Paulo Banchero, Bol, and Wendell Carter Jr. on the floor together. I assume Bol at the 3, Paulo at the 4, and Wendell Carter Jr. at the center position. So maybe we get to see something like that in preseason. And right here tonight, when we saw the Wizards play, for example, the Wizards, I think so the Warriors know what they have, and they're more seeing which young guys are going to be playing. For the Wizards, it's different. They had a multitude of changes on the roster, people coming back. Bradley Beal's ramping up. We saw Rui Hachimura. He's going to be playing a lot when they're in Japan because he's from Japan. And, Rui, he's on a prove-it year, but I think right here you're probably going to see them test out. Like, I think they really want to see some stuff from Isaiah Todd and Vernon Carey maybe, because to decide if they're going to, if those guys are worth keeping around or if they should move on and really go try to get more players that are, because they're making a push. Like Bradley Beal has made it clear he wants to win, and they need to make sure, like the Wizards have to figure out their lineup. Unlike the Warriors know what their lineup really is. They just don't know, who's going to be the 8th or 9th guy in their rotation. For the Wizards, they're trying to figure out what's their starting lineup, what's their bench rotation. So every team's preseason is different. I think this is why wins and losses in, the preseason don't really matter, because teams are like, depending on what stage the organization is in, contention, they're not going to be testing out lineups as much, but they're going to be testing bottom of the roster guys, while teams like the Wizards or maybe like the Portland Trailblazers, you're going to see guys, coaches trying to figure out what their actual starting rotation will look like, what their actual bench rotation will look like. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, you're trying to figure out, who fits, who doesn't fit. That's a big thing for me. I feel like even though it's preseason basketball, I kind of, it's just like summer league. I don't look at preseason statistics in any way, shape, or form, except for maybe a game like James Wiseman does this the whole preseason. Maybe you take that, but you're taking everything with a grain of salt in the preseason. But yeah, especially if I'm the Washington Wizards, I'm looking who's meshing, who isn't meshing, and I'm just continuously experimenting with everything. So yeah, preseason, it's a little bit different than football preseason, I feel like, because you only see the starters out there for a little bit, especially if you're on offense. But, yeah, exactly what you're saying. This is preseason. It's more important right now for Washington than it is Golden State. And I think Jay made some great points here. I'm really hoping, I know you are too, for a Rui Hachimura breakout season here.
I mean, yeah, I hope Hachimura breaks out. And for me, Hachimura is a little bit farther down the list on players that I like on the Wizards. But Big J said it right here well. And the Wizards are definitely trying to figure out their defense. This was a team that had a really good start last year, but they fell due to some key injuries, and they fell to 25th in defensive efficiency. And they hired Wes Unseld Jr., their head coach, John Hopkins alumni, Loyola Blakefield High School, Maryland, native, son of the greatest Wizards player of all time, for his defensive acumen, for being the defensive architect of the Denver Nuggets defense from previous seasons. And yeah, I think they're figuring out defense. But yeah, I agree with the one thing you said. There are only 2 stats that matter in preseason basketball. And the other stat doesn't matter as much. If a guy averages like 20 points like a night, and like has huge stats for the entirety of the preseason, that's a huge thing. Like that's like if they go, are averaging insane. So like, let's say if it's a second-year player and he's putting up huge numbers for the entirety of the preseason, he's probably going to have a good year. The second stat I would say is huge, like depending on the player. Let's say, like, obviously if a guy is coming off the bench and only taking 5 shots a game and he's like having amazing shooting splits, that doesn't matter. But if a guy's coming in and he's taking like 10 3-pointers a night in preseason basketball and he's shooting at like 40% on 10 threes a night for the entirety of preseason, and I think it's like 5-6 games you play in preseason basketball, right? That means he might take like 63 pointers. And if he shoots those 60s at a pretty decent clip, you could assume, okay, this guy's shot might be coming around. I think this is something you could see. Like, I don't know if the shooting split's the best way to say it. You can tell if the guy has worked on his shot that summer in preseason basketball, who's worked on their jumper.
Yeah, I think it's eye test also really comes into play there.
Yeah,
just confidence with the shot, and how are the misses looking? If he's taking 63s in preseason and he's shooting maybe only 32, 33%.
What are the misses? Yeah.
Were they good shots?
Exactly.
Is it mechanics? Is it exactly.
It's definitely like shooting. It is very skewed on how it is, because like you could look and like, oh, this guy shot really well, but then you look at it, oh, he only attempted 23s like over like 6 games, and like, you know what I mean, and he was wide fucking open. Like
I don't have the Tatum stat, but Tatum's stats were horrible. What's up, Chris? Tatum's stats were shooting splits were horrible in the finals, but you also got to keep in mind, I mean, he's getting doubled, he's getting tripled.
Like the difficulty of the shots. It's definitely, because like, look at this, Devontae Graham. If you look at on the eye test on paper, you'd be like Devontae Graham, and I'm not saying Devontae Graham is a good shooter of the basketball, but if you look at Devontae Graham's catch and shoot shot, Devontae Graham is one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the entire league. I think was top 10 in catch and shoots at like 43 or 42%, but he's an under 40% field goal shooter, for his career. But there's certain guys, you know what I mean? Like shooting stats can be weird because of just basketball stats that's why I try not to live or die by basketball stats, just because you want them to use them to assist your argument, but you can't solely live off that argument. And
like, who's the coach who goes, I don't know why it's on the tip of my tongue, who's the coach who goes purely based off feel?
Probably Doc Rivers.
Oh, yeah, it'll come to me, but yeah, there's.
Let me Google it. What?
Maybe I'm thinking. I could be even thinking football, where it's just I want the best players out on the court.
Byron Scott says he doesn't believe in analytics. Randy Whitman, former Wizard coach, says he doesn't use analytics, and
it must be football.
I think it's Doc Rivers, because Jerry West said he's not a fan of advanced analytics. It's probably Doc Rivers. I can't see if any current coach.
Makes sense. I mean, like you said, I'm not living or dying by statistics, but I think in this day and age, I think it makes it easier. You just can't heavily rely on statistics.
No, I completely agree, and it's definitely interesting to see how it all goes down. But what else did we have on tap? You have any other thoughts for this NBA game from today?
No, I just think it's really cool. It's in Japan. I love it.
I like the tours. I like the. Oh, dude. Ooh, I know where we're going next with this conversation. While we're on the preseason basketball, there was this man that I will admit we used him a little bit to help grow this channel, but he's returned to the Australian Basketball League, and he is going to be playing against the Phoenix Suns in the preseason. And they're saying that this man is going to be using this game basically as a showcase for it. Do you know what man I'm talking about here today? A man who is great at basketball. His father was a decent basketball player. His uncle is considered one of the greatest Filipino basketball players in the PBA, which is the Philippines Basketball Association. Kai Sotto is going to be able to play the Phoenix Suns when the Adelaide 36ers face them in basketball this preseason, which, if you guys don't know, they're finally returning before the pandemic. The NBA did this great thing that I loved. Back in the old day, they actually used to play college teams, and even the Harlem Globetrotters. But they did this great thing where they would face other professional clubs. They would face Barcelona, Real Madrid, Fenerbahce, and other, Bayern Munich, and teams from the MBL. And they're bringing it back this season with, I believe, the preseason game against the Adelaide 36ers is 36ers versus Suns will happen. I'm trying to find the day. October 2nd will be the day that happens. Sunday. So if you guys are trying to watch Kai Sotto will be facing. And this is his second season. And this was a guy he played a little bit. And I think the NBL, I personally have said this, the best, if you're, I hate the G League nights, and maybe that's me just being biased, but I think the best place to go if you're a guy who's trying to get pro ball instead of going to college, either go to Spain, Turkey, or the MBL, because look, this is a guy who's going to be able to face off Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Really, the guy's going to be facing off. Can he make DeAndre Ayton look like a bitch? But the other thing is, he's going to play on October 7th against his former teammate, Josh Giddey.
Nice.
Well, wait, never mind. He's not. They never played together, but former 36er as well as Josh Giddey. So with Kai Sotto being there, do you think? Okay, and we talked about it. Like, we are realistic Kai Sotto fans. We know that Kai Sotto. It's not that he's a long shot from making the NBA. We know NBA teams will take Kai Sotto for the fact that he will bring, a lot of eyes to whatever team he goes to because he has a huge following. Now, Kai Sotto is a guy that he can only play one position, and that is center. And in my opinion, the center that might be most similar to Kai Sotto is Omer Yurtseven. Yurtseven is a little smaller. He's from Uzbekistan, but he's a guy who played for NC State and Georgetown. But before that, he played in Turkey. And this past season was his first year getting, NBA minutes. And he's a guy who averaged 12.6 minutes a night, 5.5 points, shot 53% from the field, 5.5 rebounds, an assist a game, and half a steal, half a block. And this comes after, and Omer Yurtseven had to spend basically a whole season in the G League before even getting an opportunity to, get a chance. So he spent 3 years in college and 1 year in the G League, and basically at 24 years old got his opportunity. Now, Kai Sotto is only right now 20 years old. I think in a similar fashion, Kai Sotto could be a guy who could help out. And over here, when he played for the Filipino basketball team in the World Cup qualifiers, he put 16 points and 13 rebounds up. And, he's a guy who's been shooting threes. He shoots like, he's not the best 3-point shooter, but he puts up 1 or 2 a game. And last year, 7.5 rebounds, 7.5 points, 4.5 rebounds, shot 38.5% on limited amount from 3 and a block a game. I think really he could be a little bit more athletic version of Omer Yurtseven. And we don't even know what Omer Yurtseven is going to develop into, but I think at the very least, Kai Sotto could be, like a Thomas Bryant type center, at the very least. And if things go right, maybe he ends up being, a poor man's Miles Turner. Are those good comparisons?
No.
You don't like the Thomas Bryant? I think like a pick and pop big who can protect the rim.
Thomas Bryant can pop.
Thomas Bryant's has had some decent 3-point shooting seasons. Yeah, Thomas Bryant's a 3-point shooting big.
I think Thomas Bryant is way worse than Miles Turner.
Yeah, I've said like Kai Sotto's floor is being a similar center to Thomas Bryant, which is a backup pick and pop through 3-point shooting big man who can protect the rim. Like Thomas Bryant for his career, 20 minutes a night, 10.2 points, 59% from the field, 35% from 3, 6 rebounds, 1.5 assists, about a block a night. Like that's, I think, Kai Sotto's floor. And then his ceiling is being like kind of like a poor man's or a similar center to Miles Turner.
With Kai Sotto, my only thing is he's very young, he's very raw, and it seems like the PBA is more similarly like college than the NBA as far as it's a team, right? It's more
but he's in the NBL.
What did I say?
PBA.
Oh shit, my bad. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like Kai Sotto, I don't know how much they're gonna unleash him in these games, especially. I also if you're in the NBL and you're the 76ers, I want to keep it because he brings in a lot of fans. He brings in a lot of eyeballs. He makes you a lot of money. So I only want to show flashes. I only want to show glimpses. So that really is my only concern is how much are they really going to let him go? But I think he's definitely got that talent. He's definitely got that potential. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, you can tell here he's got to put on some weight, but he's very young.
Yeah, I think Kai Soto only weighs the guy's. I've seen him listed at 7'1", 7'2". He's only 232 pounds, which he's not. That's nothing. Thank God he doesn't have a Chet Holmgren friend or anything like that. I would like to see him closer to the same weight as Omer year 7, which I think year 7 is closer to 250, or he's 275. Holy shit, year 7 is 275 pounds.
Big boy.
So, like, yeah, maybe. Well, I see over here year 7's also listed at 264. So, yeah, getting to 250, I think, is a good number for Kai Soto.
Yeah. So hopefully they play him. Hopefully he sees at least 20 both games, and you get a kind of another glimpse.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I completely agree. And alrighty, so I want to.
Are we going an hour today?
I don't know. I was about to ask you, where did you want to wrap this up? What teams did we do? What was the last team we reviewed? Was it the Magic yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday was kind of a free for all. I don't even remember.
Yeah. I want to say it was the Magic. I'm just gonna check real quick.
I'm gonna be gone for like 2 minutes if that's cool.
You're fine. What, are you about to take a shit?
No, I gotta piss so bad. I didn't plan out the piss schedule here.
No, you're fine. I'll keep the show running as we figure out what to do. Yeah, the Magic was the last team. All right, so over here as we wrap this show up, I hope you guys are doing fine. But yeah, no. Thanks, Thomas Perry. No, I had to go to work and do some stuff. I've just had a really busy week. My girlfriend lost her ID and it's her family weekend. And so she was just been, having a hectic week, and then I kind of lost her debit card. So I'm in the doghouse right now, and that's why the show was off schedule today. I just had to figure just life crap out, and that's never fun for anyone if you guys are in that situation. But basically over here, we have a few teams left. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Phoenix Suns, the Portland Trailblazers, Sacramento Kings, and the San Antonio Spurs, the Toronto Raptors, the Utah Jazz, the Washington Wizards. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 teams left to do on our preview. Now we're going to wait for Jackson to get back here to figure out, what to do. But I want to shout out my school that I love very much, KU football. My hat is like right over there. I'm not going to grab it, but we'll give a little shout out to KU football for a second. And it's been cool. I don't know if any of you guys watch, college football or anything. I actually have a podcast I started. I think it's Waving. I don't know what we call it yet, but I know this is an NBA show, but I want to just shout out my school for football. It's like really cool. If we win tonight, we'll be 5-0 for the first time since 2009, as well as most likely being ranked by the Associated Press in the top 15. So it'll be really cool to see if that happens. And I'll be on the field. So if you guys watch the game, go check it out. And yeah, I don't know if I'll be on the field. I'm usually on the field for the full game. I'm playing by ear tomorrow. I mean, if it's a blowout, depending on how the game goes, I might stay for the full thing. I might not.
This fucker.
Yeah. I took a moment to shout out KU football.
JR6, baby.
Now,
that was the best piss of my life.
So I think we have 8 more teams to preview. We won't do all of them. I think we're just going to do one team right here, and that'll be what we'll wrap the show up with, I think, personally, as I think that's just what's best. What do you think? That's fine?
Yeah.
All right. Just because, I think we need to just stick with our time.
It's Friday.
I have no
idea. I can't wait to be off work.
You're funny. You're funny. All right. So I'm trying. I guess this is the best picture we're going to get. All right. Let's get it. So
Better not be a bum team. Whoa, we're wrapping it up with the rap show.
yeah, you like that Raptors raps?
Nice. Look at that
And
arm muscle. Fuck.
yeah, unreal. Makes me feel like a bitch.
What's his
But
workout regimen? Fuck.
I know. All right, let's get right into the Toronto Raptors to wrap up today's show. Sorry about the shortness in today's show. Life shit. I explained it why there's just fucking my life has been hectic the last 2 weeks. And
I wanted to ask before the show. I wanted to say, like, were you having technical issues or were you having technically issues?
no, I was, I fuck you. All right. So first off, the Toronto Raptors, I like what they did, bringing Otto Porter Jr. in, bringing back Thad Young, as well as getting themselves, basically the same team. But I love Nick Nurse. I'm a big Nick Nurse ever since reading his book. I just love this man. I think he's one of the best coaches. Fuck you. And look, they have Precious Achua, OG Anunoby, Scotty Barnes. The only eyesore on this team's Kem Birch, but Kem Birch is a good player. Brought in Honcho Hernan Gomez, Josh Jackson. They drafted Christian Koloku. Otto Porter Jr. is there. And, they have a lot of shooters. Like, out of all the teams who I think the best training camp invites out of all the teams, I think the Toronto Raptors got like the best players they could imagine for training camp invites. Listen to this. These are older camp invites. Gabe Brown, and Justin Champagnie, those are decent guys who went undrafted, good college players. But the real ones are DJ Wilson, Josh Jackson, two first round picks. One's a lottery pick, top 5 pick, and the other one was a top 20 pick. Okay, as fucking camp invites. And not only that, they brought in Juancho Hernan Gomez, who's on a deal, but one could argue that his contract shows that if he didn't perform, he could be cut. But I think really Josh Jackson, DJ Wilson competing against Gabe Brown and Justin Champagnie for a roster spot is unreal. And just this team on a whole, I love the starting lineup, which is probably going to be, you think they're going to go with Pascal starting again, or you think Chris Boucher or Kem Birch will start at center?
Abort.
Well,
yeah, their most used lineup last season was Freddie, Gary,
Scotty, OG, and Pascal. That's what. So I assume that's the starting lineup: Pascal, OG, Scotty, Gary Trent, Fred VanVleet. Then off the bench, you got the Thad Young, Chris Boucher, Precious Achua, and I guess you throw in Otto Porter Jr. because they're deeper now. I guess Malachi Flynn and Delano Banton are fighting for the backup guard spot, and then you have literally the first, besides Malachi or Banton as the guards, the 4 other guys coming off the bench are Achua, Chris Boucher, Thad Young, and Otto Porter Jr. We assume, right? And then you have behind that Kem Birch, and then you hit, whoever out of Flynn or Banton loses the battle, and Josh Jackson, Hernan Gomez, or DJ Wilson if Josh Jackson doesn't make it. I just think this is a deep team, and right now when I look at it, 5, 10, okay,
like
4,
12 deep if you really want to.
15. I'm counting the players 15, 16, so they have to cut. Yeah, they have to cut one. Like they're gonna cut Gabe Brown and Justin Champagnie because they have Dalton and Ron Harper on 2 ways. But Josh Jackson and DJ Wilson are fighting for a camp spot. So is Hernan Gomez, but I think Hernan Gomez, after his performance in Eurobasket, safe bet to be on the team.
Yeah. You're going to see a lot of interesting line. And, real quick, I also think we'll see a lot of what we saw last year where you'll have Scotty Barnes starting and then subbing out, not quickly, but after a few minutes, and then finishing it off with the bench unit because he can do a little facilitating. He can do a little playmaking. I know he's been working on that as well. But you'll see a lot of long lineups as well. Like they'll throw Boucher, Precious, and Kem out there all at the same time, and their offensive rebound rate it's through the roof. It's something absurd when those guys are out on the court at the same time, and then like put in Scotty in there and then a guard. So Nick Nurse is going to experiment a lot. I'm really curious to see actually how it looks right out of the gate on Sunday in their first preseason game. But yeah, Toronto, Thaddeus getting Otto, all of a sudden they became a deep team, and I'm really still hopeful on Malachi Flynn, but I think Delano's a good basketball player, but I really need Malachi to start cooking with something. And even if they're not ready, if for some reason, worst case scenario, Delano Banton and pressure and Malachi, they're not feeling it. I'm curious your thoughts on like an Eric Bledsoe possibly making his way to Toronto at some point in the season.
I like that. I mean, I think they're giving Banton and Malachi the benefit of the doubt, and Malachi was a first round pick. Banton was a second round pick. So I think they're I bet you everybody in the front office is hoping that it's Malachi who figures it out because they got him with a first round pick. And if not, they hope Banton figures it out. And that way they don't have to do anything about it. But I think the big thing is for me, I think this is the last year of us expecting a jump from OG Anunoby. If OG Anunoby doesn't stay healthy or if he doesn't take the jump, I'm done. For the last 2 years, I've been saying OG Anunoby was going to take the jump to join the upper echelon. Like I thought OG Anunoby was going to be, the next guy to join Paul George and, Jimmy Butler as guys who were late first round picks who developed into one of the better two-way all-stars, But yes, he's improved, 6 points to 7 points to 11 points to 16 points to 17 points. And it's been very incremental. But the health, it feels like every single year he plays less and less games. So I think he's still going to be a starter in the league. I think this is the last year for him. I think to give him all-star expectations. He's 25. I think he's about, if he doesn't, stay healthy or show the leap, he is who he is, I think with OG, and he's still a great basketball player, just below all-star. But the real thing is this is what it depends on the Raptors season. The Raptors are either going to be a top 6 seed or a top 3 seed. And what it depends on, how much Scottie Barnes grows this offseason. We all know the revelation that was Scottie Barnes' rookie year. And the thing is that's only a bit of the production his future will hold. And this is a guy who can play every single position on the floor. Okay, he is Draymond Green, Ben Simmons, and fucking I don't know who's the third guy. I couldn't get Giannis, yeah. A smaller version of Giannis. Ben Simmons and Draymond just thrown into a guy who's 6'9". And the question is what is he going to become? Is he going to be a ball-dominant, multi-positional offensive player who also can guard every single position on defense? Or is he going to be a hypercharged, offensively more gifted Draymond Green? Or is he just going to be his own fucking player? And the answer will not only impact how the Raptors do this season, but what their ceiling is in terms of their future.
Yeah. One thing that really stands out to me with Scottie Barnes is, second half, he absolutely turned it up. 17 points a night, 8 rebounds, 4 assists with rounded up. We know he's really good on the defensive end, but I felt like he became more of a playmaker. I feel like he started, he was always getting guys going, but they really started to use him more so in that role. And, second half of the season, he only shot 27.5 from downtown. But one thing that's really nice to me is his free throw percentage is not bad in any way, shape, or form.
What is
74%.
How many attempts a game?
3.
So that's something you need to work on.
Yeah, you get that number up.
Drawing fouls, yeah.
You want to get that number up. But I think that the way he, 74%, second half 73%, first half 83%, last month of the season from the free throw line, I think that he's really going to take a jump from downtown, especially being in Toronto. So I don't even think this is a bold take. I think he'll be a 20-point per game scorer for him this year. And I think
you have the stat in front of you. What do you average after the All-Star break?
That was the first stat. It was like 17, 8, and 4.
17, 8, and 4.
Yeah.
I want to pull up his best month because I think he averaged 20 a month, 20 points one month.
Scottie Barnes is a rising superstar.
I completely agree.
And I think we'll see a huge jump into year 2, and I think that Toronto gets a top 4 seed.
You want to hear
Sure.
something crazy? In my mock drafts, I think my last 2 mock drafts, I picked up when that Scotty Barnes was going to Toronto. But for most of the pre-draft, I had Jalen Suggs being Toronto's draft pick because I thought Jalen Suggs would have been the perfect guy, you know, to eventually turn Fred VanVleet into the 6th man. You know, like I thought, oh, Jalen Suggs, future point guard. And then after a season or 2, you make Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent the 6th man, and then you put Suggs in. But Scotty Barnes was the right pick. And Scotty Barnes' first month was his best scoring month in 7 games. Okay, in the month of October, he averaged 18 points. Yeah, I mean, he was shooting 22% from 3, but 55% from the field. And his second best month was literally 16 games in March, 51% from the field, 23% from. That's the thing with Scotty Barnes, is just becoming a consistent shooter, because Scotty Barnes literally he would have months where he shot 40%, then 36%, then he'd followed up with a 24% from 3, then a 37.5, then a 23% month, then a 31.8, then a 31.3, then 27. You know, like he would have 2-3 months hot as fuck, then a month, you know. I just think just being consistent is a big thing. Are we running? Did you just want to get this to go to an hour? We got 15.
No, I'm good with whatever. Yeah,
we got 15 minutes for it to be an hour. You just want to go to an hour?
Yeah. What's the next team?
Next team would be, we have 7 teams left. You can choose from these teams. Can be the San Antonio Spurs, the Sacramento Kings, the Philadelphia 76ers, the Phoenix Suns, the Utah Jazz, and the Washington Wizards. Pick your poison.
All that's on my mind right now is Pirtle, so I'll let you take the helm of this.
You want
Spurs?
okay.
Maybe we do Spurs, because
and then we'll do Pirtle.
Spurs Nation is very loving.
So we'll do Spurs, and then we'll go over to Pirtle. Wrap up the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sign me up for that.
Okay, we'll do that. And people were trying to tell me Jeremy Sohan is going to play for the Spurs this season because he was a lottery pick. And I just want people to understand, because I'm assuming you've already started the clip, that regardless if you're a top pick for the Spurs, you're not playing that much as a rookie. I hate to break it to people, but that's just kind of how it is. I don't. What are your thoughts with that? Are you with me on that? Like, you're going to see the rookies play more time in Austin than in San Antonio. Jeremy Sohan, I saw him playing at Baylor, and look, the team just needs to be, how do you put it? Like, they're gonna go with, they bring their guys in slowly for a reason, and it works.
Yeah, I think you also see the departure of Richardson, Dougie, and Pirtle this year.
You think so?
Yeah.
And
all of them.
I mean, we talked about it. Those guys are some great trade chips, and I really do wonder. I can't find a picture of the old and young Spurs together, and it's like pissing me off. I want the Spurs put together. Okay.
For San Antonio, I'm looking pretty hard on a couple of players. First off, it sucks. Primo's out for this preseason with MCL sprain.
I know.
Sucks. Keldon's a little banged up too. But those 2 players and Devin Vassell, those are the guys I really have my eyes on, because kind of like you're saying here, as much as I want to see, especially Jeremy Sohan, but I want to see a lot of Blake Wesley. I want to see a lot of Malachi. I think Sohan will play the most out of that group.
Yeah, Sohan will play the most out of the 3, but Branham and Wesley are going to be playing most of the season in Austin. That's just how the Spurs work the thing, and Jeremy Sohan will play too.
Yeah, so it's for me, I'm looking at, like, they just paid Keldon. Is Keldon a part of the future?
Definitely.
I think so, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so those are the guys I'm looking at. Trey Jones is really enticing to me as well. I'm a big Trey Jones fan. I think that I don't know if you saw Zach Collins hyping himself up. Zach Collins is a pretty solid basketball player.
Zach Collins was a lottery pick. He was like the 7th or 9th pick of the draft.
So he went to my sister school, my high school sister school, and it was funny because my freshman year roommate actually went to he went to Bishop Gorman, which is where him and like Tate Martell, it's like the coolest school in Nevada and Vegas. But apparently, I don't want to put any words in his mouth, so I won't even say it. But I'm not a big Zach Collins fan, but I root for his success, especially after that injury.
Is he a dick or something? Not your words, allegedly. Say allegedly. What are the words for the San Antonio?
Worst team, 0-84 or 0-82. I'm just kidding. I saw that on Twitter today. I think, dude, they want Vic, man. They want Vic, and they could really use Vic.
Hey, I've said this before. They've only had the first overall pick twice, and they've hit them both. The Admiral, David Robinson, and Tim Duncan. Now, look, my biggest concern for this, I love Trey Jones, and if Trey Jones can show that, I mean, he's not been a great shooter, but he's a pass defensive first guard. But if he could be anything like his brother Tyus, they're all right. But the thing is that with the Dejounte Murray trade, this team is tanking. And on paper, their opening day starter is Trey Jones, who is a guy who avoids turnovers and keeps the offensive machine moving, but doesn't really have a threat in terms of an offensive game when it comes to shooting at the rim or even the three-point shot. He shot 19.6% from three on limited attempts. Now, late first-round picks, Blake Wesley and Malachi Prime, both of whom were one-and-done players, are going to normally need heavy reps with the Austin Spurs. And even in the best-case scenario, both of those guys project more as combo guards / swingmen than as pure orchestrators. Now, Josh Richardson, if he'll be traded at one point, but maybe he's a guy who could help out with the point guard rotation as he'll help ease the overcrowded shooting guard position. Now, I was about to say that. Former lottery pick Josh Primo from Alabama, youngest player in the draft, one of the youngest players ever to be drafted, who's only like 19 years old, is probably going to get some opportunities to have the ball in his hand. And although him probably mastering his normal position of shooting guard / the wing is more important than him figuring out, the point guard position. But yes, that point guard position is huge. I mean, they have Tommy Kuzi. Do you believe in Tommy Kuzi, the white ball, the next Caruso?
No.
So, yeah, I think right here, when you look at this roster, I think Zach Collins is a guy, he's got another year left on his deal. I think if Zach Collins can show that he's I think they should trade Pirtle at some season and have Collins end the season, because Collins could be their future big man. Like, people forget
Roby.
Collins. I mean, Roby's there. I think I've said this before. I would love to see a lineup of Collins, Roby, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, and Josh Primo. What do you think? And last year, Collins only played 28 games, 18 minutes a night, 8 points, almost 49% from the field, 34% from three, 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, about a block a game, and half a steal. And Collins is a guy who is capable as all hell. Okay, he played at Gonzaga, and he was a guy who, look, it's a terrible injury he went through, but at Gonzaga, he was averaging 2 blocks a game in college, which means he should translate over to the pros. 65% from the field, 47% from three, 17 minutes a night, 10 points. And he showed that this year, averaging 7.8 in the same amount of minutes. Like, I think there's hope with Zach Collins, and he's only 24. So if it works out, they don't even have to draft a big man. They have the perfect modern day center right there. And even then, you could argue that if they bring in Victor Wembanyama, you could run a Collins, Victor Wembanyama front court, Keldon at the small forward. If Primo shows life as a point guard, you got Primo there, Trey Jones off the bench, Devin Vassell at shooting guard. And that's another guy I'm stoked. Devin Vassell, I think he'll be a 17 points per game scorer.
Hell yeah. Take that jump, baby. I like that.
You got any closing arguments for the Spurs? Any other players you're excited to see?
No, I think we touched on it all. I think you are, if you're a Spurs fan right now, I think you kind of have your expectations set. You're a good team, or you're a talented team.
Yeah, I think you're
a good team right now. And, the priority is to find that franchise guy, I think.
Yeah. And I think they have good pieces. Like, I think Joe Wieskamp, who spent most of the season last year with the Austin Spurs, I think he's a more athletic he's a more athletic Duncan Robinson. He could be like a better version of Max Strus, Joe Wieskamp. And he's somebody, I think he's somebody to keep your eyes out for that could shock people. He got a regular deal. And then you also have on two ways, Don Barlow and Jordan Hall. Jordan Hall is a 2.0 version of Kyle Anderson. Don Barlow, in my opinion, is a poor man's version of Blake Griffin. And you still, Isaiah Roby, somebody keep your eyes out for. He literally got waived by the Thunder just because they had too many players and he was just the odd man out. And that's crazy to think of. But Joe Wieskamp averaged 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists a night, and 1.5 steals on 39% from 3 and almost 50% from the field with the Austin Spurs last year. And he was basically a 40% 3-point shooter for Iowa Hawkeyes. So that's now. I
just want to throw in that I only said fuck you about Strus because he's my DePaul Chicago boy.
Oh yeah, but also expect Romeo. I don't think Romeo Langford will play much, but I could see Romeo Langford, Doug McDermott, Jakob Pertl, and Josh Richardson not on the roster by the end of the season.
Yeah.
Now to wrap up the show, we're playing a game that we typically play. And we try to see if Jackson can figure out who this guy is. Who is this man?
Is it Trae Young? Fuck.
Western Conference. All right.
Is it CJ McCollum?
No, I want to try. He's in the West. That's all we got. Wow, they didn't even look at this. Nah.
Can we do
I
CJ?
think- You want CJ McCollum?
Yeah.
Southwest, which means it has to be like Phoenix. Who else is in the Southwest? Memphis.
And he's a big man. It seems like.
Oh, it's a big man.
Right? Kind of seems as so.
He's 26 years old.
He's taller than 6'8".
He's a center. It's a center. Now, so Phoenix.
Dude, I swear it's on the tip of my tongue. It's not Blake. Yeah, Phoenix. What is
Houston,
it? Dubs?
New Orleans.
Houston, Dubs. Oh, shit. Is he
Spurs.
a Houston boy? No, he can't be. That's not Bruno, right? Yep, there you go. Nice.
You like that?
Yeah.
You like that one? I figured I was 26. It was a white person. You could tell by the hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you could tell by the hair. It was a white guy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Learn your shit, bro.
Who's Kansas got?
Well, Iowa State.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all goes, but I think we'll duke out the win.
What time?
2:30.
Where at?
Kansas. I'll be at the game.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it'll be fun. But yeah, I wonder how it'll go down. And oh damn, I think I logged in. I'm trying to.
I gotta log out of your shit.
Yeah, I saw that. Fucking bastard, get off my shit.
Yeah, I guess I didn't need to. I was all rushing around trying to figure that out. But we're all set now.
We're all set now. Everything's going good. All right, but yeah, what's your plans for the rest of the day?
I don't know. Mom's making chili, but I'm gonna try and convince her to get some pizza. My airport's shut down until October 5th or 8th, so I'm gonna be here for another week. Pretty sure he cheated. Yeah, did you cheat? You might have cheated.
I didn't cheat.
Well, you did cheat with the conference, though.
What do you mean? How did I cheat?
By looking at the conference of the Southwest.
That's cheating. I thought we could look up the teams in the
We abolished that because I did that for like the first 2 weeks, and apparently that was cheating. So
okay, I did admit I searched up what teams were in the Southwest because I knew it was Memphis, Phoenix, and that's about it. So
my favorite is when I convinced you the East Central was like the Sixers, Celtics, Knicks.
Yeah, I was pretty pissed. You got me with that one. You feel good about that? You feel good about your trickery?
Those are my wins there.
Those are
Chili
my
Thomas. I think Chili is more saved for tomorrow and Sunday. I feel like That's why I'm thinking Chile, I think, is more of a football thing for me.
Bitch, make
What-
them
what about you?
football.
Anything
Hey,
other than Kansas?
What? Like for
Maybe
football?
like a circle jerk on Friday nights or something.
I don't know what I'm doing this weekend. I'm a pretty boring person, bro. I might meet up with some friends, smoke some pot, and yeah.
Let's see,
Yeah.
like Black
What?
Sabbath or something.
What?
Do
Black.
some pot.
Yeah, we smoke pot, bro. You smoke pot?
I'm thinking about doing sober October tomorrow.
That's so stupid. You
I'm
loser.
thinking about it. It's like no caffeine, no drugs, no alcohol.
I know what sober October is. Sounds like what Mormons do on a daily basis. All right, I got a shit, dude. We made this through an hour.
Nice shirt.
I know. Oh, you like it, Alaska? The great
I'll live
land.
there one day. But my mom made it. I know, but I know Chili doesn't go bad though. That's why I'm thinking it's a Saturday, Sunday thing.
Fuck your mom.
What?
Yeah, your mom's a hoe. I'm just kidding.
I don't think I can end this stream, bro. All right, I'll get out of here.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. If you guys enjoyed today's show, be a friend and tell a friend. I got a shit, but don't tell them that I need a shit, but tell them about the show. It's available on all streaming services. Thank you for everyone who came out. Shout out to Thomas Perry. Shout out to Big J52. Shout out to Joshua George. And, you know, the NBA season's back, so the show should go to the moon. And, you know, look, hey, we had our first full week in a fucking while. First full week.
Yeah, I think this one did a lot better than the last two, right?
Yeah. This one's we probably have like this will do better. We're figuring out my life is hell, but like I'm gonna figure it out. And you know, I had more energy today. Everything's coming around, and I'm gonna go kill some babies and like let's do some shit.
Word.
Yeah, I'm not actually going to, but love y'all. Goodbye. Get the fuck out of here, Jackson.
See you at work on Monday, guys.
Yeah,
Peace.
see you at work. Peace.